beautiful people. My name is Emma.
And I'm MC.
And we're your hosts of the G-Forces podcast. So today we are getting ready for the US Grand Prix. It's been a minute since we've done a Get Ready episode, I feel like.
Yeah, we've just really been doing race roundups, but I mean...
It's been a hectic season for us.
Yeah, I feel like we're just adulting.
Yeah, adulting is crazy.
Yeah.
But it is the US Grand Prix COTA this upcoming weekend, which is very exciting.
For those that are new, this will be the second of 3 U.S. races, but this one takes place down in Texas. So for Emma and me, we personally just feel like this out of the 3, this is the one that this is the American Grand Prix that we enjoy the most.
This is the only one that's on an actual track in America.
Yeah.
The 2 others, Miami and Vegas, are street tracks. And they're okay.
Yeah.
They're very, from a spectator point of view, it's obvious that those are big promoter sponsor events.
Yeah, it's very like Miami and Vegas are very glitzy and glamoury.
It's where you see a lot of celebrities.
Yeah, there will be a lot of celebrities there this weekend, but I think similar to like Nashville, I feel like Texas, it's a little bit less, glitzy and glamorous. It's a bit more like come in jeans, and I just feel like everyone's a bit more like even keeled.
Yeah,
it doesn't feel as like sponsor heavy. So I like it because I feel like the drivers just give off the most like fun positivity this weekend. Like I feel like they all really enjoy it. They kind of get into the that American cowboy attitude because it's in Texas, even though
it's Austin. So like the least Texas part of Texas.
I don't know anything about Texas, so I can't.
Well, that's like saying Nashville is like the epitome of like Tennessee. I would say.
Yeah, it's like
I feel like
Hollywood
Nashville
version.
is to Tennessee as Austin is to Texas.
Yeah, but I think it'll be a good weekend.
I think so too. Usually COTA delivers a very good race.
I feel like we need one.
I think it's a sprint weekend too.
I would have to double check on that.
I think it is, which means if it is, hopefully we'll have something interesting on one of the days.
Yeah, I think so. The big talk of the town is obviously McLaren, just kind of the shit show that they are. On top of that, we haven't really ever talked about this, but McLaren is currently in court.
That's what I'm talking about today.
Okay, so Emma's going to go over everything.
I'm going over a detailed explanation I can say it now. I'm going over a detailed explanation, and we're going to be discussing a bit about McLaren's current court case that they're dealing with.
Yes. So
we actually did talk about it once in our very first episode because it was right after everything happened.
True. Yeah.
Way back when.
All the way back.
I know. It's like 80, 90 episodes ago.
Yeah.
It's crazy to think about.
Crazy.
Yeah. Anyways.
I think beyond the current case that McLaren is dealing with, there's a lot of talk around, obviously, Oscar and Lando.
Yeah. We're going to be discussing a lot of that.
Yeah, the frustrations of everything that's building. So I feel like it's going to be a tense weekend for the McLaren camp.
It's going to be an interesting press conference.
Yeah, the takes from the drivers is going to be interesting. And I feel like
that they're going to be told they cannot say anything.
I feel like because of the sarcasm that Max kind of showed in one of the other press conferences around last weekend, I wouldn't be shocked if there's like zingers from the other drivers in press conferences. Oh, probably. But it's going to be interesting.
So who are you going over today?
I am doing the second half of our Cadillac go-over. I figured American team, American race. Let's wrap it up. We went over Checo last time, so this time we are going over Valtteri Bottas' career so far.
I feel like Valtteri Bottas is like an honorary member of like every single country.
Yeah, like that man.
He loves to embrace the theme.
Yeah, he really... And I feel like he shows up in random places in every country. Like, you're like, why are you mountain biking
one day,
in Colorado?
I was just going to say that.
Yeah.
Crazy.
But very lengthy career. Another one, like, you can just see... I'm so curious to see how Cadillac is going to perform this first season. Just based off of, like, I mean, on paper alone,
On paper alone, they have a good
They have a
track
good
record.
chance of winning next
Winning
year.
is crazy to say.
Well, on drivers alone. On drivers alone.
On drivers alone, yes. But I think that it's really going to depend. These new regulations, I have no idea about anything.
Yeah, I'm throwing it out all out the window.
So,
at least they're entering on a new regulation year.
That's very true. That does make it a lot easier.
I don't know, and I don't know if any old F1 fans would know this. Does that typically, when they've added teams, does it matter? Is that tied? We'll have to look into it.
We will.
Yeah.
All right, let's get into it.
Okay, so Valtteri was born on August 28th, 1989
I was just about to be like, his birthday just passed, but it's October.
In Finland. And according to the interwebs...
Do you know where in Finland?
I could not pronounce the name, which is why I just put the country, because it's a town. Look it up. I was scared to pronounce it, because Finnish is...
Was it like the letters that we don't have in English?
I don't remember, because I did the research a week ago, but I just remember looking at that and going... I'm going to not attempt that.
All good. You keep going. I'm going to look it up.
So, according to the interwebs, his father owned a cleaning company and his mother was a mortician or an undertaker. I believe that's what they call them in Europe. That's what they were calling her all over the internet.
That's such a cool name.
It was really
an undertaker.
It was really funny because when I was doing research on his family to try to figure out, some background, if there's ties to motorsport or money, I found a whole Reddit page of F1 drivers with parents who have normal jobs, and Valtteri was on that. I think Esteban was on it. But yeah, there's just a bunch of drivers with parents with actual normal jobs. Oh, Valtteri, similar to Checo, started very young, beginning karting at the age of 6. According to his website, he was in the karting world until around 2006, where he won 3 prestigious kart titles and moved into the single-seater world. So in 2008, he had early success and won both the Formula Renault Euro Cup and the 2008 Formula Renault Northern European Cup. He won 17 of the 28 races in those 2 series. In 2009, Valtteri moved to F3, and he didn't have any race wins, but was able to get 3rd in the championship for Formula 3 Euro Series. In January of 2010, it was announced that Valtteri would join Williams as a test driver. He would continue in this role for another year. He apparently impressed Williams, with Frank Williams even praising his performance in the lower formulas because he had also won the 2011 GP3 series when their relationship was going on. Valtteri would then move into a reserve driver role for 2012, and he would participate in 15 practice sessions that season. So, not sure because the formula of Formula 1 has changed a few times.
Yeah, but that's not a lot of practice sessions.
So yeah, I would have to look further into that, but I will. Valtteri would make his F1 GP debut at the 2012 Malaysian Grand Prix, which, ironically, was Checo's podium debut.
Whoa.
Yeah, so I was like, oh, cute.
That's weird.
Yeah. At the end of 2012, it was announced that Bottas would officially be joining the grid as a Williams driver for the 2013 season. So his debut season was a bit short of okay. He was only able to score 4 points for the team and ended the season 17th in the Drivers' Championship. Bottas would continue with Williams for the 2014 season, and this season, the car and the upgrades that they brought really seemed to improve the position of the car. During the season opener, he started at 15th, clipped a wall, finished 6th, but was promoted to 5th after Danny Rick was disqualified. During Malaysia, he was able to gain places and finish 8th, so already showing improvement from the year before. Williams had its first front row lockout in 11 years at the Austrian Grand Prix, with Bottas achieving his first podium, coming in 3rd. So him and his teammate, which I don't know why I didn't write who his teammate was, but him and his teammate ended up locking out. So doing something that we've never seen.
Something that I dream
something
of.
that, a lot of the new fans have never seen. Then he decided to keep on podium. So after he achieved his first podium, he was like, I want more. So after his first one, he decided to have 3 consecutive podiums, coming in second in the next 2 races. Bottas ended the 2014 season in 4th place.
In a Williams!
With 6 podiums. Williams was also 3rd in the Constructors' Championship that season.
I dream of days like this.
In 2015, Bottas continued with Williams, and unfortunately in the season opener, he got injured and had a small tear in one of his discs in his lower back.
Oh, God.
So he was able to get back into the back into the car the following race, and unfortunately, but still podiuming. Still making podiums. I don't think podiums Anyways, he would only end up on the podium twice for this 2015 season, but was still able to come out 5th in the Drivers' Championship, with Williams continuing in 3rd place for the Constructors. So while it wasn't as successful as the prior season, he was still able to, they were still able to, continue in their position in 3rd, and then he was still able to get into, quite a good rank for all the drivers.
What happened to Williams, and what was it? I mean, he left in 2015 or 26.
When did Frank Williams
in the late,
pass?
He was still alive in the first few seasons. He was still alive, and at least I know the first season of Drive to Survive. I think he passed in 2019. Not too far.
Money, rule changes.
I think it was money, because I'm because they ended up, they had a string of a few different team principals in the late 2010s, beginning 2020s. Yeah. And I just don't know, because Lance Stroll's podium, he had a podium. His first podium was with Williams.
Didn't Claire Williams make a comment in an interview one time? And I could be getting it wrong, so please don't quote this. But didn't she say something along the lines of it was never supposed to go to her? That her.
No, it wasn't.
Yeah, and so I wonder if there was just something going on behind the scenes, but also, if
they were the last family-owned
yeah.
F1 team, and, they were taking sponsors, but, I remember their cars in, 2017, not having that many sponsors on it.
No.
And so,
they were trying to keep it really, old school, but I think, unfortunately, just the financial strain.
Well, because then I remember, the first or second season of Drive to Survive, George was one of their drivers. They had an older driver who would come back. And then their team principal, he was a former rally car team principal.
Yeah.
It was strange. I don't know. I just wonder what happened in those few years between that and when George was on the what happened.
So going back to that, Bottas would only end up on the podium twice for this 2015 season, but was still able to come out in 5th, with Williams continuing in 3rd. In 2016 was technically, well, obviously not technically, but it was Bottas' last season with Williams, 2016, but it wasn't supposed to be his last. Both driver and constructor seemed to struggle a lot this season, and Bottas was only able to achieve a podium once, finishing 3rd at the Canadian Grand Prix. Due to a slew of retirements and car issues, Bottas was only able to achieve 8th place, with Mercedes finishing, what? Why did I write it like this? With Williams finishing 5th. I think that's what it was. We're getting into, the Mercedes years. So, due to a slew of retirements and car issues, Bottas was only able to achieve 8th place, with Williams finishing 5th. So they did drop in the Constructors' Championship.
Oh, that's what it was. I think this was the year. So the year
so
after
they went
that,
from 3rd, where they were probably all the podium bonuses, all that.
Well, yeah, but then I think, so this was 2016. I think 2017 is
Hold on, I'll get to it. So in November of 2016, Williams announced that their lineup for the 2017 season would be Valtteri Bottas and Lance Stroll.
Yeah, because that's when
at the end
put a ton of money into it, Lawrence
of
Stroll.
the 2016 season, unknown to anyone on the grid, Nico Rosberg announced his retirement, something that no one was expecting, including the team. So Valtteri is signed with Williams in November of
to go to for
2016 for the 2017 season, and then at the end of the 2016 season, I guess right as Williams announced their driver lineup,
Nico Rosberg retires.
And Mercedes is
we want Valtteri.
Scrambling. We want Valtteri. In January of 2017, it was announced that Bottas had signed on to Mercedes and was partnering with Lewis Hamilton. According to the article that I was reading, Williams was apparently okay with this and understood the importance of joining a team like Mercedes.
My guess is Mercedes gave Williams a ton of money.
I think also Mercedes and Williams have always had a relationship.
I think they always have had a relationship, but I think given that they've had this huge fall this year, I feel like Mercedes probably gave Williams a lot of money.
Yeah. Valtteri moved to Mercedes, and now he's been on the grid for a few seasons, right?
Yeah.
It wasn't until the move to Mercedes that he was finally able to achieve a race win during the 2017 Russian Grand Prix. At one point during the season, he was only a handful of points behind Lewis and finished the season third overall, just close to 50 points away from his teammate. Bottas would remain with Mercedes for the 2018 season. This wasn't a bad season in my opinion by any means, but there seemed to just be a lot of scenarios where he would start strong and then struggle and fall out of the top three. Feels like there were just issues with the car when you were reading about everything that was going on. There were quotes from Bottas that really gave the vibe that he was not happy at all, even stating that he lost the joy of racing.
Oh.
He would finish the season in 5th place in the championship. And luckily, his contract with Mercedes was extended for the 2019 season, along with a potential option for the 2020 season. I feel like you typically see these pickup options, and sometimes they can be really dependent on performance. I also think it's pickup options are always placed in terms of we'll see who else is a free agent.
Yeah.
You know, it gives the team that option as well as the driver. Bottas had an incredible season in 2019. The season opener, held in Australia, saw him pass his teammate and finish in first with an over 20-second gap.
Damn.
At the end of this race, his engineer said, well, that is payback for last year, and Valtteri had an infamous response when he crossed the finish line, and, pardon my French, and he goes, to whom it may concern, fuck you. This was aimed at himself and the critics from the terrible prior season. Apparently when he was asked about it, he was like, it was about me, but it was also about, all the hate I got, because last season wasn't that great.
Oh, this makes me really happy that him and Checo are going to be teammates.
Yeah, and the to whom it may concern, fuck you, is, one of those radio moments that you always see on, the TikTok edits and crap like that. The beginning few races saw Bottas side by side with Lewis, so showing the strength of the car, but also the talent of the driver in the seat, being able to, go neck and neck with your teammate. 2019 was his best performance yet, with him placing second in the Drivers' Championship behind his teammate, and obviously Mercedes with a driver in 1-2.
Well, and let me remind everyone, so at this point, his race engineer is James Vowles. There's infamous radio messages of James getting on the radio saying, Valtteri, it's James. You need to let Lewis pass. At this point, that's what was happening.
Well, so listen to this. He had 4 wins this season and finished on the podium. Guess how many times that season?
Every race? 15
times.
Yeah.
Practically.
How many times did Lewis finish on the podium?
I didn't look up. This isn't about Lewis.
I know, I'm just saying.
But yeah, but that's
who knows if he could have been in first place if he wasn't such a team player.
Yeah, he did a lot for Lewis.
Yeah. I think Lewis is obviously an incredible driver and deserves his championships, but I think that Lewis has a lot to thank Valtteri for. And he does. He does.
Yeah,
he to this day has said that Valtteri has been his favorite teammate of all time.
I don't think I've really heard anything negative ever.
No one's ever said anything negative about
I think
him.
He's obviously a Spitfire kind of reaction, but anyone in a high intense sport like this is gonna have those responses, but. So 4 wins and 15 podiums for that 2019 season. During the 2020 season, Lewis really seemed to be outperforming Valtteri. Valtteri was still showing strong performance for the team, but Max Verstappen seemed to be a bigger force than ever before, and Bottas saw himself fighting constantly to maintain that second place in the Drivers' Championship. Bottas was able to end the season with that second place, over 100 points behind his teammate. He was able to have 2 wins, but I believe just like 2019 would outshine everything else. 2021 was the final season that Bottas was with Mercedes. Bottas did okay this season with okay performances in quali, constant battling on the grid to move closer to the podiums, and a handful of retirements. Regardless of all the issues he faced, Bottas was still able to finish in third in the championship, along with helping Mercedes for their 8th consecutive Constructors' Championship.
And this is 2021 season, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
It was announced towards the end of the 2021 season that Bottas would not be re-signed to Mercedes, as they had signed George Russell. Bottas would move over and sign with Alfa Romeo for the 2022 season, joining rookie Zhou Guanyu. Alfa Romeo did not have the success that Mercedes did, and I think that there was really only 1 or 2 teams that he would face the same level of success in. Bottas would go 10 consecutive races without scoring points and would face car issues, ultimately ending in retirements. He was able to still gain points and was 10th in the Drivers' Championship, with the team coming in 6th. Bottas would continue with Alfa Romeo in 2023 along with his teammate. There was a rough season. This was a rough season by
anyone's standards.
Yeah, by halfway through the season, the team was down in 9th place, and constant car issues, breakdowns, and collisions saw the team struggle. This was also the first season that we started to watch, so this is the only Valtteri we've seen. Like we never
Yeah,
saw.
but like we obviously have seen clips of him in Mercedes, and like he, for the longest time, if not still, might hold the record for the fastest like ever F1 car clocked. I think it was him and Monza in a Williams in like 2016 or something like that. But watching someone who has such success in his career have to race on a team where like they're clearly not good, and it's clearly the car, the pit team wasn't together, like it was, everything was a struggle.
Yeah. Bottas would end that 2023 season in 15th with 10 points to his name, so obviously a very big jump. 2024 was when we saw Alfa Romeo turn into Kick Sauber as we know them today. Are they changing or are they staying?
Next year it's Audi.
Audi, okay. I was like, I know one of them is changing. For the first season under the new brand, Bottas and Zhou would continue as teammates. 2024 was rough.
Yeah, this was even worse than 2023.
Spectator. One major issue, as Emma mentioned, was their pit stops. There were 2 at the beginning of the season, and I remember this. Bahrain had a 52-second pit stop, and Australia had a 28-second pit stop with a fine, and this just paved the way for a terrible watch.
I think like the worst part about watching this last season was watching somebody like Zhou, who like, you know, their only chance on an F1 team at this point in time has been on a really bad F1 team, and it's not just like it's not like it was just a really bad team.
It was terrible.
It was horrible.
I don't know how they stayed positive. If they stayed positive.
It's really sad because it's like you never really got to show your true, like Zhou never got to show his true potential ever.
But I think that's the hazard of the sport, and I think unfortunately that's like I'm sure there's like a lengthy list of drivers that have
Well, yeah, I mean, that's kind of like why you look back at like the feeder series and you see, okay, well, this person did this well in this series up against this person, and you're in the same kind of car.
Yeah.
So, anyways.
So, Bottas was unable to achieve points in a season for the first time ever and finished the season in 22nd. From everything I remember and everything I've read, I think Bottas's time with Sauber was more negative than positive, but it did have some positive moments. He had a lot of positivity towards his longtime teammate, who he constantly, still to this day, speaks highly of. And there were rumors that Bottas would continue as he had been in talks with Audi, who are taking over, like Emma said, the team in 2026. Unfortunately, it was announced that the team would go with 2 different drivers entirely, the driver lineup that we know today. With no seat, I think a lot of the F1 world was expecting him to take a step back similar to Checo, but it was announced towards the end of 2024 that Bottas would rejoin Mercedes as a reserve driver. Then, in August of this year, it was announced that Bottas would re-enter the grid, driving for Cadillac, along with Checo. So, to sum it up, Valtteri Bottas' career so far, has consisted of 10 wins, 67 podiums, and 12 years of experience in F1. So between both Checo and Valtteri, Cadillac is gaining a team with a total combined 16 wins, 106 podiums, and 25 years of F1 experience.
Fingers crossed they have a good car.
Fingers crossed it works, man, because there's a lot riding.
I mean, you have 2 drivers that were treated as the number 2s on their teams.
I didn't even think about that.
Neither one. I mean, I'm sure at some point both of them have been treated as a number 1, but on their most successful teams, they were treated as the number 2s.
They were also dealing with shit cars in both situations.
Yeah.
So, like, Cadillac, give them something good, please.
Yeah, fingers
For
crossed.
the love of God. But isn't that crazy? Like,
It
how
is.
much between the two? Like, I'm actually... One, it gives me a little, because obviously my heart goes out for all the young drivers that kind of like just don't get a spot after F2.
To be honest, I wouldn't be surprised if it's this first year with these 2 drivers and then they switch it up to something else.
Yes,
after this.
I agree.
Or at
wholeheartedly.
least like they keep
2
one
years.
of them afterwards, or like 2 years, and like this year they decide to find us like some younger drivers to develop a little bit more.
But I think that's why they chose older drivers, was because they have no offense.
Starting off with rookies, both on with a brand new car sounds like a recipe for disaster. When you need to figure out the structure of a team.
Because I think the other thing is too is Valtteri and Checo, I'm sure, are just happy to have a spot on the grid. Like, but they've had their time, so like, I wouldn't be surprised if, they do a 2-year run where they're just basically getting the team ready.
Yeah. I don't think that I love Fernando, but I don't think that they're Fernando. They're not going to stay there forever.
No,
They understand that it'll be time to move on.
I think they both know that this is probably, like, the last.
Oh, I think
Unless one of them pulls out, like, a driver's championship out of their butthole next year, but, like.
A Braun GP, you never know.
Yeah, like, that's what I'm saying. So, yeah, I feel like they both just want an opportunity. Obviously, we don't know them. We've never spoken to them. But through everything that we've read and we've seen, I think you hitting the nail on the head about the second driver. They've always been second. They haven't been, like, Valtteri hasn't been in a crappy car because the Mercedes, like, Sauber, yeah, but, like, their most recent experience in a car has not been a positive one. So,
yeah,
I feel like they're just happy.
A positive year.
Yeah, I hope I hope they kind of go into it the way Williams and Haas almost went into this past year, where they were like, yeah, everything's gonna break. Like, not going in with these high, ridiculous expectations, so.
Yeah.
But that's Valtteri.
All right. Well, I am going to get into some of the McLaren drama that's happening right now. In our very first episode of our podcast,
The G-Forces.
Yeah, of the G-Forces, but of our podcast in general, we talked about silly season of the summer of 2023. Crazy to think that was 2 years ago. And during silly season, one of the crazy things that happened was actually post the end of the season for INDYCAR. And it was drama between McLaren Racing as a whole, and that includes just all McLaren Motorsport, and Alex Palou. If you're not familiar, Alex Palou is the most recent INDYCAR champion. He has won
titles.
Yes, several consecutive
Spanish
titles.
baby. We're big fans.
And the reason why so in August of 2023, in the United Kingdom, a complaint was filed by McLaren Indy LLC and the McLaren Racing Limited against Alpa Racing LLC, which is Mr. Alex Palou Montalvo. I definitely said that incorrectly. And Palou Motorsport SL. And all of that case that was filed, it started on the actual court part of it, started on Monday, September 29th. So 2 weeks ago today.
So wait. Sorry, a bit confused on dates. So it was filed.
It was filed in August of 2023 when all the drama happened.
And then the court cases only just started 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, things take a long time.
Okay, no. I was just I was trying to make it clear to the people.
Yeah, bureaucracy is crazy in the UK.
Yes.
Yeah. So they're currently in a civil court case, but that does mean that they have actually tried to several attempts of negotiating a settlement, but have failed to do so. Some of the numbers that I'm going to throw out at you are insane as I'm reading it. Okay, so the trial is going to be held in front of a judge who will hear McLaren's complaints against Alex Palou. McLaren seeks an 8-figure finding against Alex Palou.
So that's
millions.
Tens of millions, right?
Yes, yeah. Tens of millions.
So at least we're not in the 9 figures. It's not hundreds of millions.
Tens of millions is still crazy.
Yeah.
We're getting there. And yeah, so all of that. They're also, we'll hear from Palou and his team and figure out what's going on. So a background on all the drama. In 2023, McLaren had tried to acquire Palou for Arrow McLaren, which is McLaren's INDYCAR team. But they met some resistance from Chip Ganassi Racing. Chip Ganassi Racing is the team that Alex Palou has been racing in INDYCAR. Alex had signed a 1-year contract with Chip Ganassi Racing so that he could sign a contract with McLaren for 2024 to 2026. He was originally supposed to go to McLaren in 2023, and so he had signed that contract with McLaren in October of 2022, but then he had to end up amending it because Chip Ganassi had basically made him stay for another year of his contract.
Amendments happen. I work in contracts.
Yeah. McLaren would also pay for the use of his name, fame, reputation, and likeness through a separate promotions agreement. Zach Brown was really excited to have Alex Palou, with him being at this point a 1-time champion of IndyCar. And Palou had dreams of racing in F1, so he figured that this was the first step to get there, at least racing with McLaren's IndyCar team.
I feel like most of the IndyCar guys would love a chance at F1. And I feel like most of the F1 guys are just a little curious about IndyCar.
Oh, 100%.
I feel like there's a very symbiotic relationship between the two, and we've talked about this before. They are very different. Very different, but we're seeing a lot of driver crossover, and I feel like with the Cadillac and a whole bunch of other things, but you're also seeing an influx of European drivers who can't make it in the European formulas coming over here. Yeah. So Alex is a prime example of wanting that F1
and
chance.
Alex Palou being Spanish, he most likely raced in a lot of the formulas when he was younger.
I think he did. I think he...
And so it makes sense that he would want to eventually get to F1. So to that end, during Palou's season in waiting, so the 2023 season at Chip Ganassi, he would serve as McLaren Formula One team's reserve driver and participate in occasional F1 tests, the first of which took place shortly after the conclusion of the 2022 IndyCar season, because they had signed that contract in October of 2022, and those responsibilities continued into 2023. So he did do some testing with McLaren in 2022. So with the developing relationship with Palou, and he was still under contract with Chip Ganassi, McLaren paid Palou $400,000 in January of 2023 in what is described as a signing bonus, which is an interesting choice. all at the same time when this is happening, Oscar Piastri is signed to McLaren as well, which is some drama that we're going to get into in a second. We're going to get there. Okay. Alex Palou finished out his 2023 season with his second IndyCar title and was supposed to make the move to McLaren, but he didn't. This is where all the shit went down. In August of
all because of Alpine.
I mean, kind of, yeah.
It's all because of their tweet. This all stems from a tweet.
It does stem a little bit from Alpine.
Yeah.
But also other business decisions.
Yeah. Like, obviously, we're simplifying a serious matter.
In August of 2023, a lawyer representing Palou sent a letter to McLaren informing the team Palou had signed a new contract with Chip Ganassi for the 2024 to the 2026 seasons, which was the same span of time that Palou previously agreed to drive for McLaren, which is a little uncomfortable. Within days, McLaren had made the case and sued Palou for breach of contract as Palou stayed at Chip Ganassi in 2024
and 2025, that's legally binding.
Where 2 more championships were captured with the team. Okay, yes.
Like from like a legal perspective,
I would imagine there were loopholes in the contract.
Well, that's the thing. Like, we would have to read through it, and we never will.
For him to sign another contract on top of the one that he already made, and he was already partially paid, there has to have been some sort of loophole, in my mind.
Did McLaren sue Palou because of it?
Yeah.
Is this what the lawsuit is?
Yes.
Well, but
they're suing him for the damages.
And then is he countersuing, or no?
I don't think so. I think he's just trying to not have to pay as much money.
I don't think he should have to pay that much money, but I hate to say it, is that, like, it's a breach of contract.
Well, yeah. Okay, let me continue. So these next bits are, like, exact quotes in the article I was reading. The judge will hear McLaren's claims of extreme financial losses due to Palou's reneging on contracts between himself and the McLaren Racing Organization. In the original complaint, which has since been revised in a filing from September 19th, so they probably were like, okay, it's a little crazy. More than $30 million was being pursued by McLaren. $30 million they're expecting from him. When they gave him a signing bonus of $400,000.
You're telling me you're suffering losses of $30 million from this driver? Like, what did you expect him to do? Like, poop gold? Like...
Yeah, okay. So McLaren asks for compensation from Palou for an array of financial losses it claims it has endured by Palou's failure to honor the contracts, including reduced sponsor revenue, decreased auto manufacturer payouts, the need to pay other drivers to perform Palou's untendered services, along with the need to pay new or existing drivers a higher than desired salary in Palou's absence. That one doesn't make any sense to me. Why are you being forced to pay drivers a higher salary because Palou didn't come? That makes no sense. The $400,000 signing bonus and a downsized sum for McLaren's outlay to conduct F1 testing with Palou. The amended amount sought by McLaren, along with the application of an interest rate, would take damages to an estimated of $25 million, which McLaren will attempt to prove to the judge as accurate and worthy of compensation from Palou. So to me, it makes sense for them to sue him for the money that they gave him and the money that was spent on him for, like, testing, to pay people, to, like, the staff to be there for those things.
Yeah, like anything promotional that they made that they had to get rid of.
Like all of that.
All the projects that fell apart.
I have a hard time thinking that that's $25 million. You're telling me that an F1 team's budget, according to the rule book, is $100 million for a season, and yet you spend $25 million on him, and that's with the interest involved? That doesn't make sense.
Yeah, I mean, so, like, obviously, I feel like it's giving, like, big dick energy. Like, they're coming in, they're asking for the most because they know it's ridiculous. Like, they're trying to shoot
they dropped it from 30 to 25, so they're realizing it's ridiculous.
They're realizing it's ridiculous. Now, I think I think it's tough because I think that there's a few aspects of like the fact that Alex did breach the contract, but like you said, we'll never know if there was loopholes or maybe he was told by a lawyer, like, we can get you out of this. I don't know. Like, we will never know the conversations that happen behind doors. But I also think that it's kind of crazy to me that, like, McLaren, like, you've got the money. Like, you don't need, like, you know what I mean? Like, I don't understand
McLaren
are you
right now,
hurt? Like, it feels like a little personal.
Oh, 100%.
At the end of the day.
McLaren right now, because I got to give credit to Zach Brown, even though I have issues with him. He has turned McLaren into a financial success, McLaren Racing. They went from like 10 years ago, the lack of sponsors on their car, to now, like, they are plastered in sponsors. They are not hurting for money.
They're about to win a driver's
Maybe they're hurting for
championship.
money in 2023 because they ended up cutting Daniel Ricciardo early and they had to pay his contract out.
Well, that's the thing. Like, how much, like, no offense, but how much were you expecting Alex to do in a backseat role? It just feels very personal. Like, they're insulted that he chose Chip Ganassi over.
Yeah.
Like, it just feels like, how much can we squeeze from him? Yeah.
And again, like, okay, so with the fines a couple years ago, I think it was last year, Kevin Magnussen had mentioned, like, oh yeah, like, the fines being $1 million, like, I'd have to go into hiding, but, like, Charles Leclerc could sell his watch and he would be okay. IndyCar drivers make even less than F1 drivers.
He is a driver's champion. Like,
I know
IndyCar.
you do get prize money with it.
Yeah, no, because I'm thinking, like,
I don't think that they're making as much as we think.
But I think
he's not hurting for money.
I don't think they're hurting because their travel, like, their budgets, their whole life budgets are so much smaller.
They're not hurting. I guarantee you they're not hurting.
But I don't know if it's...
I don't know if he has a casual,
like,
25
liquid 25 mil just sitting in a bank, yeah.
Yeah.
He'd have to sell off some assets.
He'd have to sell his home.
Yeah. It just feels very petty, and I agree. I think I understand the, like, I would understand if this complaint had been made, and then they came to a settlement where, yeah, it was, he pays the $400.
Pay us back for everything that we spent on you with the normal interest rate, and that's that. Yeah. But it feels like they want revenge.
Yeah, I think, too, and again, obviously all these people, like, McLaren probably knows Alex's financial situation better than we do, but for me, it's like, is this necessary? Like, this is what you're, like, because you know that this is really not what the team should be focusing in on.
It's also just bad PR.
Oh, it's terrible PR.
I also do think that, honestly, dropping the complaint from 30 million to 25 million before before it's actually gone to court, I feel like it looks bad on McLaren in the sense that, like, you know that it's a ridiculous amount that you're asking for, but it's like when you're trying to heckle with, like, people in like a street hackle, same thing.
Heckle is like,
I know,
shouting.
I know.
You can do both in a market.
It's when you're you cannot. You're trying to barter, like, you're trying to get something for cheaper, and if you're the one to drop it that quickly,
they might. Who knows? I mean, you can make revisions. Like, they might have gotten,
I know, but you know what I'm saying.
No, I know. I think it's just interesting because McLaren does have like, they have a team in IndyCar, and Alex is the best IndyCar driver in the world right now, and I just think it's just not a good look. It doesn't make him seem super friendly.
Well, so to continue the bad looks, not necessarily for Alex, this is where even more drama has stirred up. So, just to kind of give a little bit of background, kind of like we discussed in the last episode, right now the relationship between McLaren and Oscar doesn't look so amazing. to the public.
Yeah, to everyone speculating, it's very much
it obviously
to the fans. It looks like McLaren has put the line in the sand and has been like, Lando is the number one. They've never come out and say that, but that is the impression.
Even
that
though Oscar
getting.
is number one in the Drivers' Championship.
Yes.
So when they've been asked to give their testimony during this case, it was said from Alex Palou, Zach told him that it was not his decision to hire Oscar Piastri. He said that it was the decision of the team manager at the time, Andrea Seidel. Zach told Alex Piastri's performance would be evaluated. I'll just read this in actual Alex Palou's words. Zach told me Piastri's performance would be evaluated against mine in 2024. Zach said that, from his point of view, my chance of getting the F1 seat was not affected by Oscar. However, I knew everything had changed. From that point on, I started to be more willing to stay with CGR in the future. After that conversation, Palou's confidence in the project waned. He said he began exploring other F1 options, including informal talks with Red Bull's Helmut Marko regarding a potential seat at Racing Bulls. However, he claims that once McLaren learned of the contact, Brown personally reached out to Marko, after which the opportunity disappeared.
Yeah, I had heard some stuff about that today.
Yeah. Okay, so there's a lot to digest here. So for Alex Palou, he signed this contract in 2022 with the understanding that he would go to Arrow McLaren and then he'd get the F1 seat after that. And now Oscar Piastri has taken the seat at McLaren and he's performing
really well.
And he's thinking, well, I'm not as likely to get this seat anymore. And Zach Brown, apparently in some disappearing WhatsApp messages, why are you messaging people business stuff in disappearing WhatsApp messages, first of all, is telling Alex Palou that, like, it wasn't his choice to hire Oscar. He didn't want him. And that, like, it's his seat. Don't worry. Like, this driver's currently on your team, Oscar. Alex Palou is someone that you're currently catering to. Why are you saying these things about someone you're currently employing?
You can't have it all.
And I think Zach Brown is getting lost in I want it all.
Yeah, I think we've talked about this before, about how you can see how this version of McLaren is very green. How you can see that they haven't, I don't think anyone was expecting this level of success. Like, we've talked about this a lot. And I feel like these are these are just sloppy mistakes. And it feels like McLaren is, like, on the grid, they're making sloppy mistakes, and just feels like Zach Brown, like, it is... I feel like this is, like, old sprinklings of, like, how the sport used to really be.
Sometimes, okay, this is going to be a hot take, and you're going to maybe disagree with me, but Zach Brown is the CEO of McLaren Racing, and that means all of the motorsport underneath McLaren. Andrea Stella is the team principal of McLaren F1. Why is Zach Brown at these press conferences acting like he is the team principal? Sometimes I think that Zach Brown needs to take a step back, do his job as CEO, and stop pretending he's the team principal of the F1 team, because he's not. Stop getting yourself involved in the drama and the politics of everyday life in the paddock and do your job as the CEO. Messaging somebody in WhatsApp with disappearing messages? What CEO does that? I'm sorry. That's crazy behavior to me. What business person does that? That is not okay. Send it in an email. If you don't want somebody to be seeing those messages, put it on a phone call.
It is hard to remember that he's not the team principal, to be honest, because he is such the front-facing face of McLaren when it comes to the executives, that, like, yeah, of course Zach Brown has no decision-making when it comes to the drivers. That, of course, would go to the team principal.
Yeah.
Like, maybe if you're Toto Wolff, but you're not, Zach. Like, it's... again, it's just sloppy, and it's something that McLaren has done really well is shockingly poor communication. They can't figure it out on the freaking grid, their two drivers, and apparently they can't figure out behind the scenes with drivers.
I do wonder if, because all of these teams have some sort of board that manages them. Like, yeah, they might have a CEO, but there's also a board. I mean, most companies are like that. I would not be surprised if the board of McLaren or whatever tries to separate the two of like, you are the CEO, you manage a little bit of everything. Let the team principals of each of these teams make the decisions for the teams.
Yeah, I think, and again, I don't know if it's just because Zach Brown, for all we know, he could be a figurehead, that just does all the PR, that he likes to be on the camera, and Andrea Stella does not. I don't know. But, yeah, it's I feel like I have a love-hate relationship with Zach Brown.
I agree.
I have moments where I'm like, wow, you're supporting David Coulthard's, like, female initiative? Like, amazing. And then he does this shit. And I'm like, you clearly...
This is the shit that reminds me of, like, oh, okay, this feels like, is this what it was like in, like, the 90s?
Well, that's what I was trying to say, was that I don't know, and again, this is something that, like, I'm not trying to make it sound like we came from the Stone Age, but with technology and with everything being written down and saved, and obviously through WhatsApp it's a whole different situation, but I think I'm constantly shocked, and maybe it's because, again, this sounds so terrible, but maybe it's because the age of, like, Zach Brown and, like, the team principals, that, like, they were not kids in the 90s.
I mean, that's true. Like,
they were in... I don't think Zach Brown was in the F1 world, but it's, like, the same issue that everyone has with, like, Flavio Briatore, where it's, like, you can't do that anymore. Like, what was going on in the 90s, you can't do. You can't get away with. You can't... Like, I think it was Podium Sundays posted a video being, like, like, Fernando Alonso is an enigma. Like, he is a lone wolf in the terms of, like, the way you could treat a driver, what can, and I just feel like this just feels sloppy and old. Like, it feels very, like, dated, like something we would read.
I
guess
also
that's better.
feel like when you...
I just feel like it came off ageist, which I'm not trying to be.
No, because what I'm about to say also feels a little in the same way. I think that people, like, under the age of 40, like, we've all grown, even, like, 45 now, we've all grown up with technology to the point where, like, we are so online that, like, we know not to send things in an email or a text message when, like, you don't want other people to know about it, don't have written proof of it.
It's like, it was because we were the kids of social media and the beginnings of
Nothing
like real
leaves
internet.
The internet.
Yeah, it was really, and again, maybe that's just the two of us, but our parents drilled into us. You put it on the internet, it's never going to leave. And so...
And you're putting it on WhatsApp. WhatsApp is run by Meta. Meta's the internet.
Yeah.
It's there forever. Even if it's a disappearing message, it's there forever.
Yeah, it feels like something that would go under the carpet in the 90s, or that would be
something that was said
a quick
in like
weekend
like a dark corner somewhere.
Yeah, like a quick weekend headline, but it just... Granted, now, the complaint was placed 2 years ago, but it just feels sloppy. Like, I'm shocked McLaren wouldn't try harder to settle with the Drivers' Championship. Like, I think that's
given the bad PR that McLaren's currently dealing with at the moment, that is the thing that I find surprising, that they didn't settle. And because you won the World Constructors' Championship, your two drivers are 1 and 2 in the Drivers' Championship, but from the outside perspective, from the spectator's perspective...
It is tense.
Yeah, it looks... Every weekend, I'm wondering, do Lando and Oscar even like each other? Which they don't need to. They're coworkers. But still, like, is McLaren sabotaging one of the drivers? Like, why is the team such a shit show? Who decided that was a good strategy? What is going on? That is my thought process every single race weekend this year. And to now go into a lawsuit and not settle... and have this be such big PR at the same time as trying to settle.
To play devil's advocate, they might want to settle, but it might be Alex now at this point who's like, no.
Well, they might want to settle, expecting for him to get to pay the $25 million.
Yeah, and that's the thing is that at this point he's like, you brought this to us.
Yeah.
It's unfortunate, but I also, unfortunately, it's F1, and there's something
if it wasn't
legally,
messy,
yeah, there's something legally going on, I feel like, at all times.
Yeah.
But it's a little sad, especially because McLaren
I hate that it's overshadowing some of the drivers, too. Like, I want to enjoy watching. Honestly, I hope that Mark Webber is in Oscar's ear being like,
we're figuring this
out.
We're working on it.
Prove them wrong. Like, win this championship, and then anybody is going to want you. Like, people are theorizing that somehow he's going to end up at Mercedes, which I feel like he would absolutely kill it at Mercedes.
I think having Mark Webber as his manager,
best thing for him,
is a really good thing right now. I do just like, it sucks because, and granted, now this might be similar to was it like the Lando Max drama they were trying to push a lot last year or earlier?
Yeah, that was last year. They were trying to be like, they're no longer friends. And I remember in one episode, I literally was like, I don't know if they're friends anymore. I mean, it doesn't matter to us at the end of the day.
Well, and I think that's where I'm growing frustrated is that sometimes in the F1 world, like, PR is everything. And I'm like, is this just because people are bored? Like, are they just trying to get the drama? Like, is this not even that dramatic? And, like, because it's been sleepy the last few.
It's been sleepy, but I don't think they're going to ask someone for $25 million for drama.
No, not $25 million. I'm talking about the media with the Lando and Oscar. Obviously,
no. I mean, there's photos of Lando and Oscar, like, holding up the World Constructors Championship trophy and everything, like, together, and, like, they're all happy-go-lucky and everything, but, like, sometimes I also don't know if that, like, that's just PR that they're showing us.
That's the thing. I don't think we'll ever know any of these people's relationships, truthfully. I mean, it's all an act.
I mean, for a while there was a lot of people who were like, do Charles and Carlos even like each other? And then it took until when they got stranded in Italy and had to drive back to Monaco together from Italy, people were like, oh, wait, they actually like each other. Like, they're actually friends.
Yeah. It is a dampener. It feels like there's a bit more drama, but, you know, it's the hazards of the sport.
I just hope that Oscar does not get crushed into this weekend by Lando and full sends it.
Yeah, I want
him on pole, I want him out in front, and I want him to win.
Yeah.
So, all right, let's get into our final thoughts. I think this is one of the longer episodes that we've had in a while. We've had a lot to say. There hasn't been a lot to say this whole season, really. We've had a lot of opinions on the McLaren front.
Yeah, but it's been, I don't know. I've not enjoyed this season as much as I enjoyed the last.
I also don't know if it's because last season was, like,
crazy.
One of the most incredible seasons of F1. Like, people say it was, like, insane.
Yeah, we were spoiled.
That, like, now we go from last season to this season where we've got, what, like, 4 race winners?
And we've talked about this, and I will continue to beat this horse until preseason testing of 2026. I feel like everyone's over it. Like, everyone's over the car. It's like a manicure you've had on for too long. You're sick of it.
And there's still 2 more months.
Yeah, and that's the problem because we go into December this year.
Yep.
We go into December. Did we go into December last year?
I think it was the first weekend of December last year.
Oh my God. It's like these poor people. They just travel so much.
Yeah.
Well, anyways.
Thoughts? Any thoughts?
I'm excited. I am increasingly nervous because I fear McLaren's going to do some weird radio decision that they do all the time.
I think we're at the point in the season where if McLaren tries to do some weird radio decision, I think personally,
I need someone to go rogue.
I need Oscar to go rogue. I think I need Oscar to say, no.
Because I think the problem is too is
you've already won the team game has already been won. The team has already won. You cannot make a decision for us anymore.
I feel like at this point, and I said this at the end of our last episode, I feel like McLaren needs to have a group convo, get into like a little circle, be like, we've won the drivers, like we've won the constructors. At this point, it's up to you guys. It's up to the drive. Like, we're not making, like, you can't ask us anymore during the races if we can switch. Like, what happens on the grid happens on the grid, and that's up to you guys.
And the strategy needs to not be, hey, Lando, is it okay? No. The pit strategy needs to be done by each individual side of the garage.
Yeah, and that's the thing, is that now you're competing. Now is when, like, you've secured...
I want to hear the race strategists. I want to hear their strategists yelling at each other on the radio, being like, no, it's Oscar who's going first. No, it's Lando who's going first. I want to hear everybody on that team competing against each other.
And I know that this was a discussion. I was seeing like a lot of clips around it. And I think that's what's making it weird too, is that it's been so on the fly decisions that it feels, I don't want to say fabricated, but it doesn't feel like there's a fight.
All I'm saying is, well, yeah, it doesn't feel
feel like there's, like, I'm not biting my nails or sitting on the edge of my seat. It's just, oh, by lap 10, we know the entire final lineup, and no one's, like, and the worst part is people are fighting, but then
we don't get to see it.
We just get to see all the girlfriends, and
they're all very pretty, but Lando. I really don't care.
Yeah.
I said this in 2023, and I'll say it again now. I don't like when someone is winning a race by such a large margin that's the end of the race. So, like, from the first 5 laps, we see, oh, this person's pulling ahead. Okay, they're going to win the race. And then we just, like, to me, that's not an exciting race. I don't care. Like, that's the reason why last year was so good. Because
you didn't
every single race, you had no idea who was going to win.
Yeah. But
I think next year will be better.
I think so, too. I think we're at the end of regulation.
We've ranted about this many episodes in a row now. So for anyone who's an older F1 fan who has seen many seasons...
Was it like this?
Has it been like this before, and then the new regulations come and it gets crazy again?
Let us know.
Yeah, please let us know. Very curious.
But
all right. On that note, make sure to like, comment, subscribe, follow us on all of the things, do all the things. All right. Bye, guys.
Bye.